So, welcome to this long journey of a video that you're just about to watch. As you may know, my name's Mally and I'm just going to talk a little bit about my Japanese journey from last year, January, all the way till now. So, it's actually been a mad journey as I literally started off January 2018 saying to myself, okay, Japanese is going to be my main focus, it's going to be my New Year's resolution. Let's get some tutors for my talkie, search a bunch of methods and improve my speaking. That's literally what my goal was. So as I went through the year, I met lots of language exchange people. I got involved in some groups and I got some teachers on my talkie. So it was quite busy because I was always talking to people and that was pretty cool. But it tended to be a sort of case where I'll just talk to people, some of them were already fluent, and then I'll try and understand how they got to a certain stage. And usually the answer will be quite vague, like I just watched lots of anime, I just watched YouTube videos, or I studied these textbooks you've already studied. And mostly people just said they just talk to native people and after some time they just improved, and that was just a general advice. There's no kind of like step-by-step case in terms of improving their language skills. People usually just said hitori yoru, depends on the person, or you just have to immerse yourself in it, or just a bunch of different things. But me as a logical person, I just kind of needed some kind of structure to the learning process, and that's the reason why I continued my Japanese lessons at the time. This definitely links to an interesting topic, which is being in language communities when you are not fluent in a language. And it's interesting because this person on YouTube called Yoga, he made a video touching upon this as well, but my personal experience is that when you are in a language community with a bunch of people who are said learning the language, there's a variety of people in the chat. There's native people who are learning your language, as well as people who know English and then they're just trying to practice their Japanese, or they may not know any Japanese, or they may already be fluent in Japanese. So you get these sort of people. You may get the people who are just interested in it and they just want to talk about it, and that's fine. You've got the people who are already fluent and they just want to practice, and that's also fine. And you've got also the people who just want to be in the chat for just entertainment. And from just my experience being in language communities, it can vary. Like some chats are purely just for entertainment, other chats are for actual language learning. But a specific community I was in, it's very much entertainment based, and parts of that entertainment was mocking other people, and it went a bit too far and I didn't really like that kind of experience, so I backed away from that community. Which was good because while speaking to those people I was studying my N4 exam, and my schedule was just quite packed at that point. So I studied for my N4 exam while looking at different methods, and while studying for my N4 exam I discovered Matt vs Japan through Brit vs Japan, because I was just looking for other foreigners who could just speak fluent Japanese but have never lived there or have limited experience living there. And just to get an idea or some kind of motivation, I saw Brit vs Japan's video, and then he linked to Matt's video, and then the first video I watched from him was the RTK video. So from that point I started binging lots of Matt's video. I read up the AJATT website and I was just there like, okay, like this is pretty cool, like everything makes sense, and I'm nearly convinced, but I don't quite get the whole 2 hours of active immersion, 2 hours of passive immersion, 2 hours of reading a day. That's 6 hours of your day, and that's like mostly like the maximum amount of concentration you can get in one day if you needed to. So it sounded really intense, so I was quite skeptical on that. So the only thing I did do at that point while studying for my N4 exam was to essentially just passively listen to Japanese, and that drastically improved my listening to the point where I didn't have to practice much of my listening for that exam, passed the N4, and I started RTK around that time as well. So passed the N4, started RTK, and I was like, okay, cool, let's start RTK, then after that we're going to do the other good stuff. So I started RTK, went to Japan. When I was in Japan, I brought RTK with me, the little, physical deck. Did a little bit of RTK when I was out there, so remembered in kanji, that's what RTK stands for. And then, I came back and I was just like, wow, this is great. So I kept watching more of Matt's videos, and I wasn't quite taken with the idea of active and reading, simply because either I think at that time I was lazy or had other commitments or I was overwhelmed or whatever it was at that point in time. But I did understand what it was trying to say with the SRS, so I started doing many different types of SRS cards. So SRS cards for the textbooks what I was using, with the Japanese class what I was going to, and etc. And then it just brought me to the case where it came to the next year, 2019, where I just said, okay, I just need to do some sentence cards right now. This sounds like some really good stuff. So I started doing some sentence cards while going to my Japanese lessons. It was quite a lot. I was doing like, like 4 hours a day of Japanese, 4 or 5 hours a day of Japanese. At that time, it was just flashcards. I was just doing too many a day, like 1 to 200 a day, I think, with my other decks as well, which I was trying to phase out. I didn't do much reading, but I did my Japanese homework, and that was it. When that term finished in break, I just started doing some active immersion. So I finished 2 anime series. That was like Boku wa Tomodachi ga Sukunai or Imo. So I finished those 2, which is pretty cool. I watched a little bit of Fullmetal Brotherhood. In between, I watched like some series of Terrace House, but how I started with Terrace House is a bit weird. So I used to like watch a scene and it was subtitles, English subtitles, then watch a scene, the same scene with Japanese subtitles, and keep switching per episode, and that got a bit confusing. What other material I did, I'll write it down in the description as it comes back to me, really. And at that point, I finally started reading. So in terms of reading, that was very interesting, because with reading, I feel like it's one of those things where you kind of have to start it sort of slow and then work your way up. Some people like to just jump into the deep end, but my personal recommendation in that sense is start slow so you can kind of get into the whole everything's Japanese kind of thing, processing it fast and etc. But understanding some of the slang and whatever, so it's a lot more painless when you go into other stuff. In that sense, I literally started with just my textbooks, of course, worked my way up to just game grammar videos, which is just like this person who uploads videos of like him playing Pokemon, and then literally while he's playing Pokemon he explains like core elements like bit by bit with a sentence, be it words, be it grammar structures, be it slang, and just breaks it all down, and it's really good. And then after that, what did I do? I think I finally read Yotsubato Volume 1, and then I read Nichijou Volume 1, and then after Nichijou and Yotsubato I got Kimi no Na wa manga, which is a lot easier compared to the light novel. So I read the manga, which is pretty cool, and then after reading the manga I started reading the light novel, which was a lot harder because one person on Twitter definitely said this, and it was literally like, okay, look, when you start reading light novels, it's a lot more descriptive compared to scripted content, be it TV or anime, etc. And the scripted element was something which I'm still trying to get over. So that was pretty interesting. Bring it closer to the time now, pretty much full MIA basically, where I do, it depends, like sometimes I do a lot of active immersion, sometimes I just chill and just watch anime for fun with English subtitles, don't hate on me. I do flashcards every day of like an anime deck. I deleted my vocab deck because I got annoyed of it. When I was learning vocab standalone without context, it was just frustrating. I wasn't like retaining it as much, so I decided to just delete it, just get it out of my system and just go straight for the sentence cards, where I found it a lot easier to retain things as you've got the context surrounding them, the pictures and the audio, which really helps. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, and what else? And that's, I still read every now and then. I used to read every single day with the Kimi no Na wa light novel, but then I just got a little burnout, so I'm not doing that as much. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I mean, on a good day I might do like 1 to 2 hours of active immersion, like 1 hour of my Anki, and like I don't know, 10 to 30 minutes of my light novel. That's pretty much it. But I mean, the real question is my actual level after going from kind of not studying as much to studying a lot more. And it's improved, don't get me wrong, it's definitely improved. My accent's improved just by studying a little bit of Dogen's videos. I watch all of Dogen's videos and all the information from Map vs Japan YouTube videos. So, my accent improved, my general understanding of the language improved, my listening's a lot better. Though the thing what I still struggle at is obviously composing the language, as it's just so difficult. Sometimes I get quite nervous, sometimes I don't have the confidence, and sometimes I just don't want to output simply because yeah, I know, I feel like, okay, this is gonna come out wrong, or I don't want to get into some bad habits. So yeah, that's a very good point. But let me just see if I left anything out of this. No, I didn't. But speaking a little bit about like input, which is very interesting. When it comes to like input, one thing what I found really difficult is like when you first start, you know, like listening to things, you tend to like trip up on one or two words what you kind of know, it's kind of fuzzy, but you don't quite understand it at that context. And if you like literally pay too much attention to that, you might, you know, not catch what the general meaning of the sentence is. So it's all about becoming more okay with the things you don't know and just focusing on things where you 100% understand, as well as stopping yourself from translating in your head while you're understanding that kind of content. In terms of reading, some of the difficulties I had with reading, I felt like definitely the slang, that's definitely a hurdle to get over. So getting into some angles a bit tricky with, you know, the sentence endings and some of the ways they conjugated, it was just a bit tricky at first. So going over game grammar videos was good in that way. What else was reading? I mean, kanji, I don't know, I just don't worry too much about kanji. Kanji's okay. I learned some kanji in my class. I did RTK. It's okay. Like, it's not this massive thing like everybody else makes it out to be. It's just okay. And yeah, so I mean, where I'm going to be going from now on, I guess I'll be continuing. So I'm not going to my next language exchange class, which is a shame due to finances at this point, but I'll be continuing to self-study. Hopefully I'll start picking up reading a lot more, finish that Kimi no Na wa level, and then I'll probably downgrade and do some like manga and stuff like that just to relax, because yeah, that stuff's intense. What else? I want to play more video games in Japanese. I started Dragon Quest recently, and that was pretty cool. Just a demo, and I got most of it, which was interesting. It's a lot easier compared to Pokemon, I think. Or maybe I'm just a lot better now, who knows. And yeah, just that's about it. So finally did it, finally made this video, and thank you very much for watching. I hope this made sense, because it must sound like a bunch of gargle, and yeah, and the timeline's a bit, you know, here, there, wherever, but I hope you took something from this, and I hope to see you guys next video.